Yay.
Welcome to the dungeon, where we geek out on all things horror, thriller, mystery, and suspense. And this is June. I'm recording this June 2024, I think it is. I don't know what year it is. I just know daytime and nighttime, that's all. But it is also Pride Month. So I thought it would be a good idea to do a video of a 10 list, top 10, I guess you call it, really good LGBTQIA plus horror movies. Now, actually, the most, I think, well-rounded list I found was on ranked.com, so I'm going to be taking my cues from that website. So here is the top 10 of the best LGBTQIA plus horror movies. Number 10 is Hellbent. It was released in 2004, directed by Paul Etheridge. Now, one of the first ever slasher films to feature an almost entirely gay cast of characters, Hellbent helped to start the revolution of the gay slasher throughout the late 2000s by creating a fascinating whodunit that just so happened to have gay communities being represented. Fantastic film with well-fleshed out characters, a fantastic killer, and horrifying kills. Hellbent stands as a beacon of the LGBTQIA horror, not because it was the first film to openly embrace queer horror, but because it attempted and succeeded to make it the new social norm. Coming in at number 9 is Titan, released in 2021, directed by Julia Ducournau. I'm sure it's a French film. It's a French movie, so I'll, just look at the spelling there at the lower thirds. Often regarded as not simply a movie, but as an experience. Julia's Titan is a wickedly twisted slasher body horror film that focuses on gender identity in arguably the strangest possible ways. A woman has sex with her car and gets pregnant. And while this may seem distasteful in theory, it is in execution that this LGBTQ horror film shines. Showcasing the trials, tribulations, and pains of being human, the film works at its best in the quiet moments that question social and societal norms. But for all the horror fans out there, fret not, because there is still plenty of violence, gore, and vulgarity to be had. Coming in at number 8 is Knock at the Cabin. Released in 2023, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Often the best representation isn't when it's focused on the LGBTQ nature of a character, but simply when the LGBTQ character is in a movie they wouldn't have starred in the past. And in Knock at the Cabin, this is exactly the case. The gay fathers in the film are the heart and soul of the nightmarish story, and opposed to having the home invasion horror movie focused on the fact that they are gay, they address it, move on quickly, and then tackle the story they want to tell. Honest and open representation is always important in LGBTQ movies, and Knock at the Cabin knocks it out of the park by showcasing two very human, very flawed, and very loved characters who just so happen to be a part of this incredible community. Number 7 is Sleepaway Camp, released in 1983, directed by Robert Hiltzik. While Sleepaway Camp may arguably be one of the strangest and most outlandish horror films ever made, it also made some of the strangest and most outlandish LGBTQ representation of all time. In a shocking and jarring turn of events, it is revealed that the killer is actually a child, but not merely a child, one who was raised as a girl, although he was born a boy. While this risque plot didn't ruffle too many feathers when it was released, Sleepaway Camp has become the focus of many discussions in the LGBTQ community, for better or for worse, thanks to this representation. A shocking, stunning, and challenging film, it has had one of the biggest impacts on the LGBTQ horror in history. Number 6 is Seed of Chucky, released in 2004, directed by Don Mancini. Now, it would be nearly impossible to have a list of the biggest and best LGBTQ horror movies of all time and not have at least one Chucky movie. I mean, anybody who's watched the TV series knows that to be true. Created by openly gay and proud Don Mancini, Seed of Chucky is the film that pushes boundaries, raises questions, and challenges authorities in the best possible ways. Queen undertones have consistently been spread throughout the Chucky franchise, but with Seed of Chucky, gender identity with Chucky's offspring, Glenn/Glenda, is at the forefront. Raising their child as a daughter or son is the main key throughout the film, which tackles non-binary issues long before it would have been addressed in mainstream media. Number 5 is Jennifer's Body, released in 2009, directed by Karen Kusama. While it seemed like Jennifer's Body may have fallen into the cliched girl-on-girl kissing to draw male audiences in, underneath that shallow interpretation lies an LGBTQ horror cult classic that has empowered and represented lesbians in fascinating ways. The titular Jennifer, being a succubus who seduces, kills, and devours men, may be a bit on the nose for feminism in the 2000s, but over time the film's queer narratives and sexual tensions have helped it withstand the test of time and become one of the most popular and beloved LGBTQ horror movies of all time. Coming in at number 4 is Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, released in 1985, directed by Jack Sholder. Widely touted as one of the most flamboyant and openly gay horror films of all time, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge uses elements and themes of the LGBTQ+ culture and shines a fascinating light on them without ever having to explicitly state that the main character's orientation actually is. A camp-filled masterpiece with more homoerotic scenes that meets the eye, from leather bars to sweaty shirtless men in locker rooms to a character who's openly and proudly himself. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge has garnered both cult status and has become a proud badge of honor for the LGBTQ horror community. Number 3, The Craft, released in 1996, directed by Andrew Fleming. Now, while The Craft may not have blatant LGBTQ representation throughout its runtime, it has garnered cult status and has resonated with the community more and more as time goes by. Showcasing a group of young high schoolers as they explore themselves, come to terms with their newfound identities, and struggle to be viewed as normal, and is a theme that many in the community struggle with every day. Just so happens in The Craft, these individuals are witches. The parallels don't stop there, as this film not so secretly becomes a very open LGBTQ horror movie for any who are willing to see it for what it truly is. Now, coming in number 2, you know we had to put this one on here, otherwise I think all my subscribers would riot. Number 2 is The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Released in 1975, directed by Jim Sharman. The ultimate camp queer horror movie and one of the greatest B-movies of all time. The Rocky Horror Picture Show has become a staple in the LGBTQ and horror communities thanks to its ability to unite all groups of people together in wonderfully wicked stories and songs. Tim Curry delivers a transcendental performance as Dr. Frank N. Furter, a deliciously deranged, self-proclaimed sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania, whose open sexuality and flamboyantness sparked an awakening in many members in LGBTQ. Frightfully fun and wickedly entertaining, The Rocky Horror Picture Show is a cult classic and has been so for nearly 50 years. And finally, number 1, Interview with the Vampire. Released in 1994, directed by Neil Jordan. Blurring the lines of sexuality and homosexuality in utter brilliant ways, Interview with the Vampire has garnered the reputation of a pristine queer horror movie that just so happens to lack the overt queerness. The sexual tension throughout the film is palpable, and having some of the most attractive men in Hollywood playing overtly sexual characters with vampiric lust is often too hot to handle. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and Antonio Banderas deliver career-defining performances in a film that the LGBTQ horror community has proudly claimed as one of their own. Well, that's the top 10 of the LGBTQIA+ horror movies. If you have any other movies that's not on this list that you would put on this list and you want to add, just mention them in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share, blah, 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 all that stuff. And feel free to follow me on all my social media stuff. All those links can be found on my link tree that is listed in the description down below. And if you want to see more of these things, and help support the channel, and because I'm doing this on my phone right now, so if you'd like me to do more of these and do them better, feel free to support the channel on the Patreon. That link is down below as well. So to all my friends in the LGBTQIA+ community, and to all my fellow advocates, and I guess we call ourselves the Rainbow Militia, the Rainbow Army, but for those of us who advocate for the community, I want everybody to have a good and safe Pride Month. And remember, you don't have to be part of the LGBTQIA+ community to support them. All you got to be is a decent human being. It's not difficult. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.